Welcome back to another episode of, I guess, Design Annotated is what I'm calling this. Today we are looking at the furniture company called Floyd. Floyd is definitely just not another furniture company, not even one of these new age sustainable furniture companies. They have kind of a twist that I think makes them worth diving into. So first we're going to look at the kind of ethos of the company, what they say they stand for, and then we're going to talk about every single one of their products and then some other interesting things they have going on. So if you listen to the company, they have this whole design ethos page that kind of talks about their core values, and I think it doesn't really do them justice, or at least it doesn't focus on the reason that I think they're special. So for instance, they say that they're tired of disposable furniture. They want lasting quality, not the landfill, materials that last, furniture for keeping. This is the kind of language they use to describe quality, longevity. And while that is true, a lot of other furniture companies might say that. One of the biggest that comes to mind is Article. However, I actually took this screenshot from this video, and I think this better sums up what makes them special. They say, our mission is to become the simplest source of quality furniture for the entire world. I think that is a much more clear mission, and the key word here is simplest. Because the thing is, let me zoom out here. In this video, we're gonna cover every piece of furniture they sell. Their whole thing is having only one item per product category. And if you saw last week's video on the Lunation Index, we love that idea of simplicity. It's the idea that a company can focus on making one quality product and not provide a ton of different options. That product is going to get all the attention, there's going to be less dead inventory, there's going to be better parts and support over time. It is essentially a commitment to a product. If Floyd only makes one single couch that maybe is available in a few different configurations, then you know that they were really thoughtful when they put it together. So let's just put a pin in that and look at some other things that they say. Just to almost kind of check this box on sustainability, it seems like they're already doing really well, making really durable products with good materials, designed to last. But specifically their 2025 goals, and I'm really excited for this one, they have the Floyd Resale and Refurbishment Program to extend the useful life of our products. So I assume that means that damage to furniture that wouldn't be covered under warranty could then be fixed to make it look like it's new again. But this resale program, I'm really curious to see how they do that, if it's just gonna be that they sell refurbished furniture. And just to kind of get price out of the way, their stuff is definitely on the higher end, but it seems really fair for the quality of the materials and construction. So other goals, they say 70% of material comes from either recycled or renewable sources. Use 100% FSC certified wood. That would be great. I think some of their products already do. Measure, disclose, and reduce greenhouse gas emissions across our supply chain. Okay, with that out of the way, let's just look at a few other things on their webpage to kind of get a feel for this company's style. Aesthetically, they're kind of in this very simple, bare bones, utilitarian aesthetic. It's definitely warm. It's not industrial at all, but they have a lot of exposed hardware and that kind of thing. Personally, I really like the aesthetic. You can see it really is at home in this very mid-century looking home here. But the thing about clean and simple design is that it's going to fit in well almost anywhere. In fact, they actually have this quote here that I think is a great word to describe their aesthetic: approachable. One of the reasons why I love looking at websites is it really tells you how the company is positioning its products. And see, as you look at the navigation up here, look at how things are sorted. We have these very simple product categories. It's not broken down by location like bedroom, living room, office, because a lot of their products are not purpose-built for those places. They're meant to be very flexible in a bunch of different contexts. Instead, it's these products that are designed to be very similar to each other. So for instance, their tables are all just different form factors of the same basic idea, instead of there being like a collection based around an aesthetic that spans different products. So you can see the shelf, the sofa, the bed, the tables, lighting, the hardware. And we're gonna jump into the first category, which I actually think we should look at the hardware first, because I think it's the thing that sets them the most apart, and it's definitely the most Lunation thing. So I believe this was actually the company's first product, the 16-inch leg, which is out of stock, and there has been a wait list, which I believe I've been on for 6-8 months or something and haven't heard back. These must be very popular. The whole idea of this and their whole hardware collection is that you buy this piece from them and then you bring your own top. So this size is intended to be like a coffee table. And so you bring your own piece of marble, wood, an old door, whatever you may have that you want to turn into a coffee table, and you just use this thread to clamp down on all four corners. The same is true for the shelf here, where you have these two contact points that go into the wall, and then you have this threaded bolt that just applies pressure down on whatever board you have. And it looks like it even spans all the way out here to kind of help hold it down. So it can almost just sit on there. I actually don't know why they have tennis balls sitting in like a bowl on this shelf. And then finally they have the Floyd utility set, and this is meant to be for a full-sized dining room table. This one's a little bit interesting because it has this like webbing-based support system. You can see here that it's like this ratchet that's included with the 4 legs, and then you like thread it through each of these legs and it runs underneath the table in a big X. I'd want to test this one myself to kind of understand why they decided to do that. I assume it just helps with the rigidity. So I love this whole collection because you may already have a slab of wood or something that you can just pretty cheaply turn into a coffee table. And if it's the kind of thing that gets banged up constantly, you have a bunch of drink rings all over it, you can just keep that same hardware and swap out what you use. And it's totally non-destructive. You just undo that clamp, and I don't know exactly how much room it supports. It looks like 2.5 inches, but almost anything you find could probably fit in there. And I love the idea of being able to make my own marble coffee table with just this hardware, which maybe seems like a lot for hardware, 180 bucks, but that's like nothing for a coffee table. Let's move on and look at their shelving system. So this, they just expanded recently actually with a cabinet module. So of course the idea of modularity is that you could perhaps buy kind of a pre-built system based on what you're gonna need, but over time you can add to it, and the more options they have compatible, the more useful that can be, and the more you can build a shelving unit really customized to your needs. And you can see it's a pretty simple shelf. You just have these 4 wood legs, and then these are like powder coated metal shelves. And you can see they're able to just add different color schemes by just changing the color of the shelving. And from a manufacturing standpoint and a sustainability standpoint, that makes it really easy because you can just mix and match parts. You don't end up with these really custom colorways that could just be dead inventory that no one wants. Then let's look at some of these add-ons and then the configurations. So this is the cabinet add-on that looks like it just slots to take the place of about 2 shelves. And it's available in those same colors because I believe that this is just the same powder-coated metal material that goes around the entire cabinet. And that's what it looks like when you have 2 short shelves combined next to each other with 2 cabinets on the bottom. And so to point something out here, you can see that this isn't just 2 short shelves with cabinet modules right next to each other. You're able to actually combine these together, so you can see there are only 2 legs in the middle, not 4. They're not just mashed next to each other. And this is where you can really see that if you just buy an expansion unit, it doesn't even come with those legs, which again is great for sustainability, price, manufacturing. And here it is set up in this huge configuration. There's really no limit to how many of these things that you could put next to each other. And here are a few more configurations they have. This is the tall expansion. This is the short expansion. And then this they call wardrobe. So you can see this one doesn't include these middle portions, but it's because this one includes a curtain rod attached to the top shelf, which of course then gives you room to hang your wardrobe from it. Boop. And this they call retail, which basically just has one of these middle shelves that is tilted out to be for like displaying something like books. And then here's a tall expansion with a cabinet on the bottom and a short expansion with a cabinet on the bottom. In the future, I think I'd like to see them sell individual shelving on its own, so that if you already had a tall shelf, you could just swap out, for instance, one of these retail ones. But because they sell things like the cabinet on its own, it seems like there's a pretty reasonable level of modularity to the shelf. They also just recently posted this. There's a media console coming soon. All right, let's move on to the bed frame. I like this one a lot because out of all the furniture that they sell that I do not own, I think the bed frame would be at the top of my list. Like the shelf, you can buy this in several different configurations with different modules you can add later on. At the core is basically just a platform. That's what you can see here, which is basically just a big wood platform made of several different panels with these like powder coated steel legs that just slot onto it. I actually love that the platform is designed to be larger than the actual mattress, because Aaron would know I always like tuck little things into where our bed frame meets the mattress. I like slide my phone in right there. And then their main module is going to be the headboard. And again, you're seeing a similar trend here where you're basically getting that birch color, but you can swap out the powder coated metal. And it looks like they just came out with a walnut variation. Here's the headboard from the side. It just has this little angle to it. And the way that it attaches, this is just screenshots taken from a video. You slide this hardware into the space between these wood panels, and then you put the headboard on like this, and it just uses this hardware very similar to their modular hardware, where you just turn the bolt to clamp it down. And then finally, a newer addition to their bed frame lineup, we have the underbed storage. You can get this for one side or both sides, and with different colored hardware and then like a canvas material. This works very similar to the legs in that it just clamps around this wood here and then has a little drawer mechanism on either side. So it really just ends up being like this big canvas basket that you can pull in and out from under the bed. And then that way it's hanging on the bed frame and doesn't actually touch the ground at all. You can see someone easily just pulling it out while they're even sitting on top of the bed here to access just simple things like linen. I assume it can't hold that much weight. I don't know if I'm going to be able to buy this until we reduce the amount of crap under our bed right now, because it literally takes up every square inch of underneath the bed. But maybe if I become more of a minimalist, then we'll have the room, because I want to live a life where I just have some extra delicate linens. And for the sake of completion, for whatever reason, they make a mattress. I don't know why it seems like there are all these mattress companies, but they make a mattress. I'm not going to talk anymore about it. And that is their bed collection. Simple, modular, timeless aesthetics. Next, let's look at the tables, which we can pretty much breeze through because they're all just different configurations of the same basic idea. So here we have their table slash desk. They're not really implying that it's a dining room table or an office desk. They're just making a useful piece of furniture that can work in a bunch of different contexts. And again, you see that they have a bunch of color options, and it's again this winning Floyd combination of powder coated steel and birch plywood. But they introduced another material for the tables that kind of caught my attention. They're actually using linoleum. And it's funny because we think of this in the context of like, what would you say, like 90s flooring, like kind of cheap, ugly material, right? Well, they actually say that linoleum is a great material because it's environmentally friendly. It's made of pressed linseeds and other natural materials. And I do know that it is silky, smooth, and it is true that it is durable. And you can see, funny enough, on their webpage, they say you can request linoleum samples, which maybe I'll do. I'm kind of curious to see. And here you can see the table. It's just this classic aesthetic. And what I actually love compared to their hardware is that the legs are all skewed outwards a little bit, but it still ends up really sturdy because this angle means that the feet make contact with the floor right where the corners of the desk are. And here's the same idea put together in a round table. And it was from this product page that I actually found a picture of the underside of the hardware here, which, are you seeing a trend? They use like this big thumb screw in order for you to attach the legs to the table. I think that this furthers that idea of the company being approachable. You don't even need tools to put any of this furniture together. It's all just big thumb screws, which also means that it's really easy to tear down. We've moved so many times in the past few years that we have broken this dining room table down like 3 or 4 times, and it's a super, super big pain. Here's the configuration as a shorter side table that is available in both a small and large size. And what's cool is by designing their furniture to be so durable, you end up with this secondary use where your side table gets to be a stool. And then here's just 2 coffee table configurations. I think this oval one is really fun. I think that that's kind of a better fit to go in front of a couch than the round one. Here you can see the 2 different sides. And hey, I don't think $425 is like that much for this big oval coffee table, but it makes that hardware look like a good deal if you just buy that and bring your own base, or you go down to Home Depot and just pick up a piece of birch plywood yourself. Then let's move on to their couch. So again, we have a very simple idea with a few different configurations. The concept is pretty simple. You have this black hardware that runs to create the whole basic frame that you can actually see on the outside of the couch. Then you have 4 boards that add the structure of the couch. You have 1 on each side for the armrests. You have the big one on the bottom, and then you have 1 the length of the back. And then they just fill in the rest of it with cushions. Here you can see the different options you have. You've got a 2 cushion with a 3, and then a 3 plus a chase lounge. And you can get this chase lounge on either the right or left side. And if you aren't a fan of the exposed birch look that you have on all of these different planks, you can actually get that upholstered the same color as your cushions. And here's this guy just chilling on the chase. I would definitely go for the chase. And you know what actually probably fit better than the oval is the circle coffee table. Could just fill in this space perfectly right here. And here they talk in a little bit more depth about the durability, because here's the thing about giving a 10-year warranty on a product. If Floyd is going to cover that product for 10 years, that company wants to make sure that it's going to be as durable, and that 6 or 7 years from now, they're not going to have to be out replacing a bunch of different sofas. So a long warranty shouldn't just signal to you that, oh, this company is going to cover me if it breaks. It should actually tell you something about the quality of the product. And here they mentioned they tested it with super heavy weights. They repeatedly pulled on the backrest, tried to bend the legs. You know, essentially you're trying to simulate this 10 plus years of use. And one final note about the couch, the fact that it's made up of just all of these cushions mean that those are essentially all little modules. If I get a stain on this couch, I'm not going to reupholster it. However, if it's just a single cushion that I can then remove and get dry cleaned or washed or get replaced, then it doesn't mean that my entire couch is suddenly garbage destined for a landfill. I don't think they sell replacement cushions through their site, but I'm sure that's just a part of their warranty program. And the last product of theirs, I'm not going to spend much time on, it is this very classic style architect lamp. But it doesn't have that whole idea of modularity, so I think that we should take a look at this another time with a little bit more of this historical icon of design perspective. And just like that, we have covered all of Floyd's products, all of them. They do have some merch, so technically not all their products. But imagine if I was going to try to sit here and cover all of IKEA's or even just all of Article's furniture. That is what happens when you commit yourself to simplicity. And I know their design language. I know that there's going to be this robust powder-coated steel. There's going to be a lot of birch plywood, maybe some linoleum, and maybe they'll add another material to their palette over time. And from their perspective, they're getting to like really know working with these types of materials and manufacturing techniques. We're going to see them refined over time and more modules come out over time so that I know that I can buy into the shelving system and expect there to be more options for modules in the coming years. And finally, I saved this for last because I think this is so creative, such a fun thing that they did. They actually created a ton of different Airbnbs as mini showrooms of their furniture. Here's their webpage on it. It's called Stay Floyd. This is what they say. We wanted you to be able to see Floyd where it's really meant to be, in a home. So we made a list of our absolute favorite Airbnbs and partnered with their owners to furnish them with Floyd. Homes with stunning architecture, great design, incredible locations, and nail some of Floyd inside. And if you're wondering if Floyd is right for you, come and see for yourself while you're in a new place. I mean, it is such a brilliant idea that they link to this, I would say like 20 different Airbnbs that tell you which of their furniture they have inside. And then you can go and actually live with it, not just play with it in a showroom, but see how it wears over time when there are actual guests coming in and out of the house and using the materials. I pulled the product page from one of these, the Leavenworth Hideout Cabin. You can see here is one of their shelving units that almost just blends in with the color of wood of this wall. Here's one of their couches, and again, that birch fits the aesthetic of this cabin perfectly. That just looks like it's covered in birch as it is. You can see here's another shelving system, this time using the white shelves. And of course, every bed is going to have that bed frame. Now, what's funny is that none of these book on Airbnb links actually work. I assume these Airbnbs all still exist. Some of these were just recently added. So Floyd, if you're watching this, check on those links because I actually might want to stay in one of these. And that is it. That is your design annotated on Floyd, the furniture company. It is not everything there is to know about them, but that's all their products, their kind of identity, and why I love them. If you watched my last design annotated video on the Rivian truck, I hope that you see that I incorporated some of your feedback into this one. This should also foreshadow the kind of subject matter I plan on covering in this series. A lot of times picking a particular company to kind of dive deep on and think about what their culture is and how it really has informed their products. And if you just found me, my name is Jackson. I make videos about design every single week. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider liking, subscribing, or commenting below with feedback about the series or any other subjects that I should cover. And if you've been watching since I've been making videos these past few months, you might have noticed that my hair has gone from here up to here.
It's okay.
So that's